What's up? Hello, everybody. Welcome in for round 3 of Midwest F1's 100% Endurance Series. Tonight, we are at Mexico. Just got a few drivers coming out of the pits now. Curious to see what everybody's different tire strategies are going to be for tonight. Looks like we got a full grid here, so we will be going ahead with a full qualifying session here for you. Burden here looks to be one of the first to start a flying lap. We got a nice long straight here on the beginning right coming down into turn 1, so you're going to see quite a few overtakes happening on this straight and probably into this corner as well today. Lancey's going to set the first lap of the day with a 117.3. Burden isn't going to be able to beat that with his 118.7, so I'm sure he's going to be looking to improve on that. Forward is the third across the line. He sets a 117.6, followed by Not Gravity with this 117.5. So some of these guys, yet again, are going to be very, very consistent here at the top. So I feel like they've got a very top-heavy lobby here today. Got Jacko is currently sitting in P5 with a 117.6. He's been having a lot of good luck with his 100% series here. He's won both of the first 2 races. He's won both those here, as well as also built himself up a nice gap in the championship standings. He's going to be sitting in first, just ahead by just about 25 points here. Got an Alpha that seems to have gone wide, taking out a little bit of the barrier there. A lot of laps are starting to come in. T-Brim has the fastest lap currently with a 117.0. For Q1, only the top 15 are going to get to move on for Q2, so nobody's going to want to find themselves down in the bottom 5. Looks like we still got a couple guys in the pits, a couple on outlaps, but so far most everyone's set their lap time. It's a very interesting route to the pit lane there by Murfla. I don't believe I've seen that one before. Prime here is on a flying lap. He's just coming into sector 2 now. See how his car is going to handle these tight corners here. These corners you don't really want to change up too much away from the racing line. There's not really many great ways to get through there otherwise. And yeah, everyone in the chat, let me know who you think is going to win tonight. I want to see some bold predictions, not just the same two drivers over and over again, preferably. So let me know what you guys think. He's going to come back into the pits. But Slayer Eyes looks like he's just starting a lap himself. T-Brim is still holding the top of the table there with a 117.0, but followed quickly by NFS Buck. Now, NFS Buck, I've had the pleasure of knowing him for quite a while now, a couple of years almost, I'd say. And he is one of the more talented drivers I've ever met, so I'm expecting some big things from him tonight. See what he's able to pull out in his debut here in this series. Smajako, last week's winner, is currently down in P7. Doesn't look like he's set more than his first flying lap there with the 117.6. Might be fast enough to stay in the top 15. Not sure how quickly this track is going to rubber in for these guys here tonight. But he might be coming out for another lap, because I imagine most of these other drivers will be twice, maybe 3 times for some of the lower guys. Slayer Eyes gets very close to that wall there on the exit, that final corner, and see what he's able to do with his lap time. So 1:18.2 is what it was, but in Sphere, he looks like he did invalidate his lap. So he's going to be going around again before he's able to set a time. Might have to come in for some fresher tires. Got a couple of drivers here on some flying laps themselves. Our build Catman is currently sitting P8 with a 118.4. Not sure that may be fast enough. Not sure what some of these bottom 5, 6 still haven't set laps yet. But we'll see what kind of pace they're gonna have. This Grumpy Old Catman is almost 2/10 up on his previous lap time. But he only improves by 10 thousandths of a second there. Must have lost all of that in that coming to that final corner. Might have slipped a little bit. Didn't look like anything was wrong. Maybe it's a little bit slower than his previous. Still got most of these guys are in the pits as well right now. Not wanting to burn down their tires too much. Murphy here on a flying lap, and he's up by a good bit on his previous time. So I'm sure this run is going to be a lot more representative to his true pace. This guy's pretty fast around the track. It's a very nice rotation out of the corner there. See how he handles this next part. Doesn't grab too much curb and handles it very nicely there. Does cut a little bit and is going to invalidate his lap. So he's going to need to come around again, set a more representative lap time. Hopefully this next time he'll be able to keep it within the limits there. So Miguel has set the new fastest lap with a 1:16.8, 2/10 up on T-Brum's previous time. So it looks like the top two are going to be in a little bit of a league of their own, for at least for right now. Maybe some of these other guys will be able to set some faster laps once this track rubbers in a little bit more, which appears it is, with how everyone's lap times are looking. Unit to win it on a flying lap here. Laps traffic there kind of impedes his lap there as he goes wide and invalidates his lap time. I'm sure he's not going to be very happy about that one at all. But a little bit further down, and got Lucky Prime is just starting a flying lap, so we'll come back to him in a minute, see what kind of pace he's got. That's a Dutchman now is on a flying lap, is he? Yes, and he's got a 1:19.2. I think T-Bone's got the easy dub here today. Let's see, I don't know. He's got Buck right down there in third currently, and if I know anything, Buck knows how to follow for a good while before he makes an overtake. But we'll see what T-Bone. I'm going to be keeping an eye on Jacko myself, see if he's able to continue his hot streak, winning these races here. I'm sure he would really like to get another win under his belt. T-Brum is going to be the second person to retire from Q1, as Lancey was the first. So they're obviously pretty happy with their times there. Dutchman is going to pull out of the way of a McLaren there ahead of him. It's going to be Burden, who's on his out lap. Maybe getting ready for a stonking lap here, I would imagine. He's invalidated this lap. We'll see if his next lap is invalidated as well. I don't believe it is. And he's going to start a flying lap now. Want to improve himself up from P11. 10th all the way down to 15th, only separated by a 10th apiece between each driver there. So pretty consistent stacking of the grid so far. Looks like no one's quite happy with where they're at. A lot of these guys are coming out. Set one more lap Q1. It looks like we just got a little over 4 minutes left. So it's going to be a little bit interesting down here at the bottom. Okay, Baba Yaga is just on his first flying lap of the session. Has yet to set a time. And oh, Burden has a little bit of a spin, but he does well not to get any damage. But his tires are most definitely going to be a little bit toasty after that one, and probably not going to have too much life left in him. So he's going to be able to get out of the way of the McLaren or Mercedes there. See him coming back to the pits, I would imagine. This Moose is just coming out of the pits now. Looks like he's going to be to set his final time with just 3 minutes 15 seconds left in qualifying one. Skinnett is able to improve a bit on his lap time, but doesn't change his position. He may just be out of options here, seeing depends on what he's able to set with this time here. He's going to keep it going. Smartfiller has retired from the session. Looks like he might have hit the wall there, had a little bit of contact. Lucky Prime is out on a fresh set of tires, got a full store of DRS coming through Sector 2. So he's going to be warming his tires up. He's going to give that one last go here, see if he can get out of the bottom of 5. Baba Yaga sets a 21.5 with his first lap, and doesn't look like he's on a push lap right now. Curious if he's going to be trying to improve on that, or if he's going to have time to even make it back around before the end of qualifying. Look, Prime is going to come in. Looks like he's just settling with his score, not going to try to improve on that one. Ginnett is also down. It's like top. We got 5 people up at top, and the top 6 have retired. Jose Miguel is yet to retire. Pretty sure no one's going to be able to beat that time, at least for now. Maybe in Q2, later stages of Q3, we'll see some more times closer to that. If he's not going to run off with a pole position there, but he might. So a lot of these guys are in the pits now. He's still got a couple out on flying laps as well. Bill is going to be just a little bit slower on that lap than his previous best, so I'm curious if he's going to run it on through and see if he can improve. As it appears a couple of these guys lowered further down the order. They're on some flying laps, but not sure that they're going to particularly have the pace to improve once they start putting in some stocking laps here. We got the McLaren of Burden's driving pretty slow into Sector 2. Might be out of gas there, it looks like. Smoosh is going to come into the pits as well. Yaga is out in Sector 2 currently. Gonzalez is on a lap right now. He's coming around the final corner. See what he's able to produce. And he's gone a bit slower on that lap. It was also down on his time. And it would appear Burden is just taking it nice and easy there, letting those those drivers go through. Garfield Catman is 4/10 up on his previous time. Not sure he's got the pace to iron that groove out. He is going to be one of the last out on track at the moment, as Gonzalez is also out in Sector 2 now. I imagine we're going to see Catman taking a dive into the pits as he's invalidated his lap. I just got one driver left out on track, and this will be your Q5, or Q1 for you, sorry. The bottom 5 are not going to be moving on to the next session. Murphy barely scrapes by there. He had about 3/10 to spare with his lap down in P15. But Jose Miguel is going to top it out with a 116.8, followed by T-Brum with a 117.0 and NFS Buck with a 117.2. Alright, and there it is for you up on the big screen, qualifying order for Q1. Decent spread here. 15 minutes here for Q2. Let's see what these guys are able to do in the second session. I imagine it's going to be pretty similar order to what we saw before. You know, some of those bottom guys are going to be looking to improve, get themselves up in the top 10, as we got pretty unsafe release there from the pits by Red Bull and Alpine drivers. But we got a big queue of people coming out very early for their first laps. Want to be able to get out and set a lap in clean air, I would imagine. So we got just about everyone but Gonzalez and Buck out right now. Looks like Buck is on his way out of the pits as well. So all these guys are going to have a nice big long queue coming into turn 1 for setting their first laps here. Right on board with Forward here. He's warming up his tires. Gravity is going to be the first to start a flying lap. So go ahead and ride on board with him throughout this lap here, see what kind of pace he's able to provide. Gravity has had some pretty good results in this endurance series, if I'm remembering correctly. Pull up my stat book here real quick. But he's a very consistent driver. Usually able to capitalize off of everyone else's errors, which is almost essential in races like these, where you may get a chance at some point in the race and then you may never get one again. Going to set the fastest lap at 117.6. It's always good to see. Lancey is going to just up him there, as well as T-Brum. Lancey with the 116.9, staying consistently in the 116s for a pole position here. T-Brum slots into P2 once again with 117.1. This guy's times are just a little bit faster than their Q1 times. Just going out and setting in a pretty decent banker laps, something to base off of, and I'm sure these guys have got a pretty good idea of where they need to improve around the lap. Slayerized on his first flying lap. So he's coming through the middle of Sector 2 currently. So we get nice traction out of his car here, coming through some of those faster corners there. So nicely slow it down on the brakes. One of the biggest problems with that corner there is people tend to either brake too much or not enough, and he's able to find just a perfect little medium there to slot into. It's a little bit much on the inside curve there. He's coming around the final corner. Let's see where it's going to put him, and it's going to put him P8 for the moment with a 118.2. I'm sure that might not be fast enough to guarantee him into Q3 here, so he's going to be looking to improve on that one. So we did see the track rubber in a good bit through Q1. I'm expecting the same thing to happen here once again. The old Catman is sitting right on the cutoff point there with his 118.3. He's only up by 6/10 on some of the other guys a little behind him, so not sure that he's going to be perfectly comfortable with a lap like that. I want to improve a good bit. I know some of these guys down there in the bottom 5 have got a good bit of pace. We did have a new track decision right at minute with a glitch in Backer, which was where we were originally going to be racing tonight. So these drivers are going to be definitely be adjusting to a different track than some of them would have been practicing all week for. He's able to bump himself up to P8 with that time there, just outside the 118s. That might be fast enough to get him through. Catman's going to be going a little bit slow. He's got a couple of guys on flying laps behind him that he's going to let pass. We'll see, he's also driving pretty slow there. Looks like he's invalidated, and he is going to be cutting the track, which the stewards would not be too happy to see. So a lot of these guys want to be rushing back to the pits to try to make it in time to get another lap, but you got to stay on the track whole time you're out there, unless you're getting spun around by somebody. But looks like we're getting a little bit of rain coming in on the circuit now as well. So curious to see if we're going to have that in our race and how that's going to change everyone's approach here for qualifying and maybe the race. So Lancey's going to retire up on P1. Pretty happy with his time there. KB also retiring. So both of them pretty confident that they're not going to run into issues. P Gonzalez is going to invalidate his lap again. Looks like he's out of ERS. Just looking to make it back to the pits to get a fresh set there. This rain has definitely caught a lot of people off guard. Yeah, I got some rain moving in here. Everyone's going to be just a little hard pressed, I think, to get a better lap times than what they've got on the softs. Oh, that's why you guys all went out first. I see. Thanks for the update there, Catman. This Buck is just kind of truffling around the track right now and trying not to spin out and crash out of this qualifying session, even though he's up in P4. You never know. You never know in these lobbies. Some of these guys have a little bit of hidden talent. Staying out for a second lap. Yeah, let's see there. Sometimes I wonder, is it better to overfuel in case you do make a mistake, or just underfuel and risk it? Trying to get it on one lap, but Not sure that anybody's going to be looking to improve their times, if that's even going to be a possibility. Not sure. The tire time deficit with switching to an intermediate tire. Looks like we got one McLaren on an outlap, though. I'm going to see what he's up to. Go ahead and ride on board with him. We've got a couple of guys retiring already. Looks like we're not going to be able to improve. Not sure if Burton is going to go for it or if he's coming into the pits here. And he is coming into the pits as well. So may not see anybody try to improve on their times. So as we got everybody in the pits here now, aside from Catman is out on a flying lap, an outlap, sorry. Let's see if he's maybe looking to improve or just get a little bit of extra practice in. He's not able to get much traction there. He's coming through these corners going awfully slow. I think we may see everyone retire here with their current positions. The rain is definitely not going to let up enough and dry out the track fast enough for anyone to get a time in. Looks like this rain isn't going to be with us from the race, according to some of the drivers here. So you're just waiting on 5 guys to retire. Not sure that anyone's going to be able to do anything, and yep, we're slowly seeing them all retire there. So we'll be moving on to Q3 shortly. Might see a bit of a wet race at the start. I guess we'll see. With the weather's always going to be changing up on us here, so keeps the drivers on their toes, that's for sure. Last 3 haven't retired just yet. Maybe just not looking at the Discord there. As you know, maybe you got some super flying tires. You can just skate across that water out there. Be about the only way you'd be able to improve a lap time at this point, I'd assume. And they may be content just letting the clock tick down. Maybe finishing off a couple more bites of their snacks before we get into the race here. Got 2 hours usually for about how long these races will run. So really test these drivers' limits as far as stamina, how consistent they're able to be for so many laps. And 100% races are no easy feat, that's for sure. I've done a few in the past, and they will take it out of you. There we go. Got Jourdain, Burden, Villeneuve, Gonzalez are going to be all failing to make it to Q3 here. You got Lancey, Tieberman, Jose Miguel are your top threes this session. So we're going to probably see a couple of close times here in Q3 for these guys. See, it looks like we could have a pretty interesting race here on our hands. We got good mix of teams and different driving styles up in the front as well. So Alpine are leading the Constructors' Championship with a 6-point lead currently over Ferrari. And it's just kind of those two fighting away for the top, as you got Red Bull down in third, and followed by Haas with 29 points to their name, 37 for Red Bull. So I'm sure these guys are going to be looking to move up, especially the Haas Red Bull driver is going to want to get themselves up into that fight for the top two spots there in the championship standings. So just waiting on loading screens here once again. This game. Sometimes the online lobbies do not like to cooperate, and it always seems to be an issue when least expected. Voila, just like that, we're off to qualifying 3 here. It's got Catman, Slayer Eyes, Buck, Jose, Forward, KB, Jacko, Lancey, T-Brum, and Gravity are all going to be vying for that pole position here today. And it is going to be a wet quali, it's looking like, for the remainder here, so see who's able to hook it up on those intermediates, maybe the full wets. Not sure how crazy this rain's going to get. It looks like Not Gravity's going to be the first out of the pits, followed there by looks like Machaco or Miguel maybe. A few guys coming out. Maybe see most of the grid out there. Probably just to get a couple laps in. Some guys might want to wait for the rain to kind of be cleared off the racing line a little bit. Not sure how much that's going to be happening here today with this rain, and only 10 cars going around the circuit might not be what they're expecting. Two Alpines look to be the only team with both drivers in Q3, so good performance from them as Miguel goes a little bit wide there. Track might be just a little bit slicker than some of these guys are going to be wanting. Just trying to get their tires warmed up into a good operating window. So I'm sure they're able to do. So Majako, a previous race winner, is going to be setting his first flying lap of the session. See how he handles in the rain. Some of these drivers are pretty good in the rain, others struggle a little bit more. So I'm sure we're going to see that coming into effect here as we've got an Alpine off in Sector 3. Not sure what's going on with him there. That's it. Williams there. So Jacko's able to set a 127.4. Miguel is just going to be a few hundredths slower there, and Lancey's got a 127.2 for us. He's got a good 2/10 gap on second place right now. His KB set a 127.74. Got a lot of these drivers in a big long queue as Ford is going to set the fast lap with a 127.1. Looks like he might have been saving a little bit of pace there for that, or he's just able to take advantage of these rainy conditions. Which, you know, some of these guys like to make minor tweaks to their wing angles and stuff like that just before qualifying for different sort of scenarios. I'm sure they got a few tricks up their sleeves. Just waiting on the bottom four, have yet to set a flying lap. Going to be doing so now. T-Brim sets a 126.8 as the fastest lap time. He's got a good bit of gap there. And he's going to put him in for a good position with just 7 minutes left in qualifying now. Scorpio Catman's going to be coming across the line here pretty soon, rounding out the final corner. Haven't seen any big spins by anybody yet. Catman is going to stay P9 with a 130.4 and Not Gravity with a 150.8. He might be struggling just a little bit, might have been low on fuel or something, because he did do 2 laps on those tires before he was able to get a time on the board. He gets a little bit sideways coming out of that corner there. It's like, may not have all the grip we're going to want, as Buck has set himself up with a 127.1. It's going to put him P3 for the moment. Sure, he's going to come into the pits for a fresh set of tires and improve on that time. And into the pits he comes. Got a pretty solid spread over the field currently. These top 10 drivers. Looks like we got second all the way down to 8th are all within a second of each other. So those guys will be... it shouldn't be a wet race from what I was being told. It's just maybe the first few laps or so, but I don't think the whole thing is supposed to be a wet race. Just got 4 cars out on track currently. It's going to be maybe getting a little bit more practicing with the wet. Some of them are going to be working on some flying laps as well. KB on an out lap currently in the Mercedes there. Stock Gravity is able to improve his time. So KB is going to take a massive spin there. And he's going to get collected by the wall rather quickly and lose a wheel. And that's going to be it for him in this qualifying 3 session. With 127.7, it sees him P7. So I'm sure all the guys lower than that are going to want to capitalize on this and try to get themselves up at least one spot on the grid. Not how he's going to want to end his qualifying session. Lance is going to be diving into the pits as well. He's currently sitting in P4. And, you know, a couple tenths here could decide if you're going to be starting in P3, P4, or all the way down in P8. So we've got Catman is also going to retire with a 130. I think that's going to be the best he's got for him. And it looks like the rain has picked up just a little bit. So I'm curious how that's going to fare for some of these guys. Buck is on an outlap currently. And it is really starting to come down now. Buck is going to very tenderly give the car some throttle there coming out of that final corner. Looks like the conditions have got a bit worse for drivers, so I'm sure they're going to be taking extra care not to try anything too crazy. They don't want to spin out now. Oh, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a good idea of where the track limits are as far as grip in the rain for the race. This would be good opportunity if someone wanted to try for that strategy, I suppose. Catman tried to get out the way for Gravity, who was on a lap, and looks like he was caught up there in a little bit of collision. Going to be coming straight back into the pits. Looks like he's not able to improve on his time there. So a minute left in qualifying. Got a couple of guys on out laps right now. They're going to be trying to set a faster time as they've moved up to the full wets with the rain intensifying like it has. Jacko is still going to be running intermediates. Slayer Eyes is on the full wets, as is Gravity. These guys are going to be looking to really make the most of this rainier conditions with a better tire for the rain. It's a little bit slower, but it's going to give you a little bit more grip, especially when you start seeing puddles on the track, and it will help clear away some of that water as well. So Gravity is going to be starting his flying lap right now. He's got Buck retires from the session. Well, from the pits there. car under control pretty well. See that first chicane. Nice rotation there through the corner, and then it's going to be it. Everyone who's on the lap now, this is their last chance to improve. T-Brum is looking pretty solid to start out on pole currently. He's got a 126.8 to his name. Forward has set his fastest with a 127.1. Not able to improve any further. Lancey is going to be looking to close that gap that he's got down in P4. It's not a big gap, but maybe he's able to get ahead a couple of those guys. As Not Gravity goes wide, doesn't invalidate his lap time here. See if he's able to keep it together just for this last little bit of the track here. Come around to the final corner now. It's nice and slowly opens up the steering wheel there. Just to not get a little too much understeer, and he does improve from P10 to P9. It's not a huge improvement, however, it is going to put him up at least at one spot. Could make all the difference coming out of turn 1. Jacko's going to be left on his lap. We'll see what he's able to do. Looks like he's up by a good bit. So we have an Aston Martin. So you have spun off the track there, and yeah, Jacko's just going to be coming in, so he's going to be starting P5. So, safe to say that T-Brum is going to be starting from pole position there with his 126.8, followed by Forward and Buck. And Lancey and Jacko round out your top 5 there for us today. So we could be in for a pretty interesting race with that top 5. These guys are all very quick drivers, as you can see from their lap times. But able to definitely put on some good showings here. So we'll see what they're able to give us today. Just waiting for the last couple guys to come in fully into the pits, and the game will move us on, I believe. Yep, there we go. So you have it, your top 10, T-Brum, Forward, Buck, Lancey, Jacko, Miguel in 6th, KB 7th, Slayerized 8th, Gravity 9, and rounding out the top 10 is going to be Catman. Got both Alpine drivers starting next to each other there. Should be interesting to see if they're going to be able to keep it clean with each other, or if they're going to be battling right away from the start. Got a lot of very similar lap times out there as well, so I think it's going to be a matter of who gets off the line best and who is going to make it out of turn 1 alive. So we won't have a formation lap here again, as Codemasters still have yet to figure out the bug for that one. So these guys won't have much of a preparation before we go lights out here. These guys are just going to be setting up their race strategies now and making any final minor adjustments they want to make on their cars as well. Then we'll be going green. It's usually just about a 2-minute wait time, but somebody's probably going to be readying up early here in the next few seconds. just getting ready to go green now. Everyone's got their strategies set, hopefully. Got lights coming on now. Lights out and off we go. Appears everyone's going to be kind of a little bit slower off the line from a couple of guys. But Jacko very quickly moves all the way up into taking the lead there. So got a big old gaggle of cars coming down in turn one to see if everyone's able to keep it clean. As we've got Lancey spins around there and gets caught up by a Haas there. We've got a lot of action moving around. A couple penalties already as some of these guys are going slow. So Murphy is going to be out there. Looks like he might have had some pretty severe contact. He's got a virtual safety car at the moment. So after all of that on the start, that's definitely going to rearrange everyone's orders there and maybe change up some race strategies as well. Not sure what kind of wing damage everyone's going to be having. Got a few position changes already. Murphy's out. We got 19 drivers left so far, and Lancey looks like to be the big loser from all of that. Let's move him down 9 positions into 13th. So Jacko was able to go up 4 spots on just before turn 1 even. Jacko also gets hit with a speeding under the virtual safety car, so he's got a drive-through penalty to deal with now. I'm sure he's going to want to get rid of that as quickly as possible, or as strategically as he can. Miguel and T-Brum battling away. Miguel is going to come out on top there. In the moment, is he able to hold it through the corner? T-Brum's going to have the inside line for this next corner, but and it switches right back as Miguel goes a bit wide there, but he's able to stay in front. T-Brum wasn't able to get a good enough drive off the corner for that there. We're going to see about into this next corner though. Oh, and they both make contact, they both go spinning there, and that is not what anybody wants to see. Both of them have spun and got wing damage. Looks like they're both able to keep going though. Just gonna promote Burden up into P1. He's up 11 spots from where he started this race down in P12. So I'm sure he's gonna be very happy with how things are going right now, and he's working on extending that gap to KB down in P2. He's got a gap at 8/10 currently. See if he's able to stretch that out even farther. A few different tire strategies, and a lot of these guys are going to be on softs down towards the bottom. Look like they were trying to improve as much as they can over these first few laps, as opposed to some of these guys a little farther up. A couple on hards. We got 4 hard runners and 4 on the medium as well. Looks like they're going to be going for some longer stops. So you got T-Brum into the pits there. I wonder what kind of tire he's going to be putting on. Looks like he's got a penalty as well to deal with, 5-second stop and go penalty. And he's gone for the soft tire there. Looks like and a new front wing. Probably going to be a 3-stock race, as you can see there on the predicted strategy. His forward is down in P17. I think he might have gotten caught up at the beginning there with some contacts. This KB is able to sit in P2 currently. He's down by a second though, and Slayer Eyes is right on his rear bumper. Just slowly getting closer and closer, hoping he'll make a mistake at some point. Spurden's now able to extend his gap to 2.1 seconds. Not sure if he's just got a lot of raw pace there with the soft tires, or if KB's having a little bit of problem. He's got to defend Slayer Eyes there. And Buck's got Slayerized in his sights just up ahead, just waiting for the two of them to start scrapping, so maybe he can move up off of someone else's mistake there. A lot of this field is staying pretty close to each other. Keenan is also pretty close to Gonzalez there. Looks like he might be making a move there with DRS, as Gonzalez does a little bit of interesting braking there. Just going to allow Dutchman to move up past both of them. Dutchman's going to be pretty happy to capitalize off of that there. Gonzalez is a good bit slower through that corner there. As Catman is just hanging out at the back of this DRS train here. He's going to want to be able to improve as much as he can. The earlier the better for these longer races. But when everyone's caught up in a DRS train like this, it does make it a little bit harder to overtake when everyone's got the same speed on the straights. They're all going to be running the soft tire as well. So Lancey makes a move on Not Gravity. They're coming into this final little section, Sector 3 here. So all of these guys up here are staying very close to each other. Looks like they're doing a good job to keep it clean. There's a little bit of contact there with Lancey on the start. And then also we saw T-Brum get into it a little bit with Jacko, I believe it was. So Miguel is able to move up on Dutchman. He's getting to win it. He's sitting in P8, Catman in 7th, still at the back of that DRS train. These two drivers are just waiting for someone to make a mistake and improve as best they can. Looks like we may be in for a pretty solid race there, as we got a couple of position changes a little bit farther down. I want to focus on this battle here. T-Brum is able to set a 119.9 with the new fastest lap of the race. It's a good effort from him. He's going to be flying on those fresh softs as well compared to everyone else's are going to be 5 laps old, so not a whole lot of pace difference, but still a bit there. This KV is just slowly starting to fall back a little bit from Slayer. I wonder if he's got a little bit of overheating tires maybe, or just shaving up his ERS just a little bit. His King Twin is going to get a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Looks like nobody's able to really make much of a move there. This guy's trying to break the slipstream, but one's going to be jockeying around there, as it looks like Slayer Eyes is running low on ERS as well. As KB makes a little bit of a lunge there, get himself just a little bit closer. Looks like he wants to get a move done here. He's not able to get a good enough drive out of the corner. Slayer Eyes having the advantage of those soft tires, just a little bit extra grip, helping him stay ahead right now. But those tires are going to be falling away here. Probably, I would imagine, the next 5-10 laps or so, those tires will be pretty much shot. The mediums will take the advantage there as the faster of the harder compounds. Lancey's just 2 or 3 tenths behind Buck right now. These guys are all doing well to keep it nice and consistent. It's not much room here for cars to overtake, as these guys seem to be. T-Brum's got himself a 3-second penalty for track limits as well. So it just kind of comes down to who's going to get the better drive off the corner here, and it looks like KB might be able to do something here, as Slayer Eyes is running low on ERS. Able to get right up alongside of him into the corner, and he's done it. KB has successfully gotten 2nd place off of Slayer Eyes after a good 7-lap battle there. 6-lap battle, I suppose. This Buck is down in P4 still, not able to capitalize too much, but Slayer Eyes does go wide. I wonder if his tires are starting to fall off a little bit. He might have had to work him pretty hard to keep that lead he had for a while. Slayer is just trying to fight it back, but he's going to lose out to Lancey as well there. He's getting all sorts of out of shape. We got ourselves a nice bit of battle here. So 2nd to 6th, all right on each other's bumpers, as Gravity is trying to make a move on Slayer, and they make contact and sends them both wide. They're able to keep going. Now they're going to be just that much farther away from those up just a little bit farther ahead of them on the track. I want to make up that time as quickly as I can. Gravity's down 1.3 seconds, so he's not going to have DRS down this straight. Whereas Slayerized will. This Gravity's taking an unconventional line down into turn 1 to try to make it a little bit more difficult for Slayerized to close the gap up to him. This Buck looks like he was able to get past Lancey and promotes him up into P3. He's sizing up KB next. Now he's going to want to get ahead and start digging into Burden, who is able to get himself a nice 3-second gap up in front there. These guys behind him have just been scrapping away a bit. It's able to allow him to be able to get a little bit of breathing room. As KB is able to hook it up nicely through here. Not wanting to throw yourself out of the groove. You want to stay as smooth and consistent as you can through this first phase of the race, not push your tires too hard and pass out of your strategy window. Buck is all over the back of him here. It's a foot, maybe 2 feet away from his bumper. You gotta think he's gonna try something here down this straight. Doesn't have a whole lot of ERS to work with. But he is able to get a nice run out of the corner there. He's burning off all that ERS, promotes himself up into P2. A good margin there as KB didn't have DRS. And Lancey's making a move on KB as well. And these two are going side by side through the chicane. Is there going to be enough room? Looks like they might have made a little bit of contact there. Lancey gets ahead, KB loses out there. Not sure if he turned in on him or just didn't have the traction to keep to their lines. KB's not going to be happy with that little bit of action there. Slayerized is making a move up on Gravity. Nope, thinks better of it. It's a very hard corner to make an overtake work there. Better off to wait for one of the DRS straights. A few drivers collecting penalties. I'm sure that may come into effect for some of their finishing positions towards the end of the race. Not sure just yet. We'll have to see where everyone kind of irons themselves out at. Dam's going to be the only one with looks like maybe a stop and go penalty, and he's just got himself another penalty. He's still in the back of Gravity here. Looks like he wants to make something happen here. It's KB also still within DRS. His training has slowly started to iron itself out. These guys are getting a little bit of distance put up between each other, and Gonzalez and Lucky Prime are swapping back and forth down here. Fighting for position. See if Gonzalez is able to get a better run out of this final corner. It looks like he does. This Lucky Prime has a little bit of a trouble down coming out of that final corner. But he's able to stick it. Just for the moment. These two are going to go wheel to wheel now. You're going to see Lucky Prime staying ahead, but Gonzalez is fighting back pretty hard. These guys are having a good little battle here, which is allowing T-Brum to slowly close up onto both of them. Looks like T-Brum's going to be going for a move as well. Thinks about going 3 wide, but thinks better of it. So now they're going 3 wide into this chicane here, and these guys are doing a great job of keeping out of each other's gearboxes. As T-Brum is through both of them, which is a great move by T-Brum there to get ahead of that fight as quickly as he could. Pouncing at that opportunity. He's got Slayer still in the back of Gravity here. As Buck, T-Brum with another penalty, and Buck is able to close that gap on Burden very, very quickly. Now got both McLaren drivers out in front. May see a little bit of swapping positions possibly with Burden being on the softs. Those tires are going to be wearing out a little bit. So I'm sure he's going to be wanting to get some fresher tires at some point. Gonzalez gets some penalty there for track limits. This Burden only working with about 11% ERS compared to Buck's 30%. These two are looking to have a great result from the team if they can hold these positions to the end of the Grand Prix. We got 60 more laps to go here out of 71, so bit much as far as lap number. This is a bit of a shorter lap though. Ford is able to make a move on Gonzalez down for P15. Miguel with another penalty. He was fighting for pole and he's now down in P10. He's not having the best of races. We did see a big change up of the order, that contact we had in the first lap there from multiple drivers. Catman's able to get himself into a nice steady groove on those softs. Just 2 seconds off again to win it currently. And how much he's able to close that gap is Jacko is behind Catman at P9. He's got about a 5-second gap he's got to close in. As Miguel is going to be wanting to put as much distance as he can between him and all the other drivers. He's got a big slew of penalties picked up by now. Got 6 seconds of penalties. Stradam's on 8, Dutchman with 6 as well. T-Bone with 11 seconds worth of penalties. So not the kind of race he'd be liking to have right now. Not sure how much of that is stop and go penalties, which is just from track limits, but see these guys struggle just a little bit to keep within. Lancy and Catman swap positions there. I'm not sure. Didn't get a chance to see what happened with that one. So we had 2 drivers DNF so far. Gonzalez with another penalty as well. So you're going to see Lancy dive into the pits. Looks like he may be the first of the soft runners to come in. Curious to see if he's going to go for a medium or hard compound. I don't think you can stretch a set of hards all the way to the end from lap 13, but we'll see what he's able to do, as he is going to go with a hard tire. So we'll see what he can do. And Bill is just 2.3 seconds off of Dutchman. Dutchman's on the medium softer compound, so he is going to be suffering tire wear a little bit sooner than Bill will. Let's see, these guys who are running hard tires, not able to move up too far on the grid, but maybe we'll see him pull something off. As Gonzalez, speaking of hard tires, is just behind. Lancy has just come out of the pit on some fresh set of hards. He's going to have to warm those tires up. His Catman seems to have had a little bit of contact or something, spun out. He is retired from this race. Not sure what happened there. Wish we could have saw that one. Hear what happened to Catman if you get a chance to come back to the stream. Just know what happened with that. That was a little bit of an oops there. I'm not sure what happened. Didn't get a chance to catch it there. Ooh. Yeah, I've noticed that some of these curbs around this track are pretty hard to cope with. Your car just doesn't want to ride on them very well, which you'll see a lot of tracks, but definitely don't want to take too much curb here. I guess you got 4 drivers coming into the pits now. I got 3 mediums and a set of hards. Dutchman being the only 4 to stop for the hard tire. So I imagine those guys are going to be making another stop at some point in the race here. I remember that. The safety car is out. Like, only a few drivers have come into the pits so far. See, Burton is going to come into the pits, as well as Ginnett now as well. Some of these guys hadn't made it around on the track yet. You see most of the top 5 will have pitted. Buck and KB staying out on their 14-lap-old mediums. They're probably going to have a little bit more life left in those tires that they'll be able to squeeze out of there. But other than that, Gonzalez is the only other driver not to pit. Let's see if he decides to come into the pits when he makes it around. A lot of these guys have gone for the soft for the second round, looking just to get a good bit of speed out. Gonzalez is not going to pit. He's choosing to stay out on those 14-lap-old tires. Going to push those a bit further, see how much he can get out of there. The top three at the moment are going to be Miguel, KB, and Buck. So you got Miguel on 14-lap-old mediums, KB 14-lap-old softs, as well as Buck. These two are already at the front of the queue. And I'm sure KB can't wait to go green once again so we can try to get the jump on Buck there. But I imagine Buck's got a little bit of an idea how he's going to want to handle this safety car restart, how far he wants to back the pack up, and when he wants to decide to go. And these little things like this could mean the difference between spinning into the wall or coming home with a victory, depending on where you got your tire temps at the start of these. So the safety car is going to be taking us around once again, going to get this field a little bit more bunched up. As Phil's gotten himself another 3-second penalty. A lot of penalties going around today for these guys. Not a super easy track to race in general, but got Lucky Prime has retired as well. And he was running down in 16th. It looks like he came into the pits for that retirement, I believe. Yeah, he would have. But got a lot of the grid coming in to queue now. Still some have yet to cross the finish line. Still got Baba Yaga's down 4-lap on some 4-lap-old mediums. He's got himself a good bit of ground to cover if he wants to catch up to the pack before we go green. He's just coming through sector 2 now with the safety car. Burden is going to be on those fresh softs, so he's going to be looking to get a jump on Miguel and maybe even KB there off the start. Able to push up and set up some sort of defense for Buck, I would imagine. To let him get himself a little bit more of a lead so he can work through those medium tires a little bit more before he's got to stop. Are going to have another lap under the safety car. So now just the last 3 drivers on the train are coming up, and then we've just got Baba Yaga a little bit farther back on them. Got forward in the Red Bull down in P14. Was hoping to see him move up a little bit farther from all of this chaos we've had, but I think he got caught up a little bit as well. Baba Yaga has just been a bit off the pace, but you know, he's already moved up 5 positions just from hanging around at the back. He stayed clean off the front, unlike most of the grid. They all came together there before turn 1. Got the whole grid queued up once again. So imagine we will be going green this lap. Had quite a few laps under the safety car now as well. These guys are going to be itching to get going again. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of last week at Spa. One of the divisions we had safety car for most of the race. It was not a super enjoyable race. Well, hello there, Wolfies, and welcome. I hope you've been enjoying the action we've had so far, and if this is you just starting to tune in, well, get ready because we're going green here soon. Scott Buck is backing up the pack just a little bit now. And gonna be getting ready to go. I'm sure he's gonna wanna get going at the least suspecting moment, but still able to get off a good line himself. So actually right on board with Bird in here. Let's see where he's able to improve. As we're getting ready to go in green now. No one's able to make too big of a move there, as Buck has set himself up with a pretty good line, and we've got Jordan has seemed to have spun himself to the back as Jose Miguel makes a move on KB. Coming into the first corner, is he able to stay ahead? Not for the moment. Looks like KB is able to hold on to that position there. But Burden is right there on Miguel. Looks like he had to give up that attack. And ooh, gets very close to the back of that Mercedes, but keeps it clean. So these guys have been doing a great job of that. It goes a little bit wide, but keeps the car under control. He's forced to go the long way around, loses out in the end, just runs out of road. Not much you can say or do about that there. That's going to put gravity right on his rear end. Big Constantine effect of overtaking, trying to overtake, and nearly getting overtaken in the process. Burden's able to get the move done, maybe sneaks up the inside. He's gonna have to work his way around the outside here as Miguel pushes him a little bit wide, just tries to close him off the track a little bit there. Burden picks up a penalty though. He just looks like he barely was over the line there, so he's now gonna have 3 seconds worth of penalties to deal with. But assuming he gets a good enough lead off the front, he is going to be through, it looks like. And he would have used up all of his ERS in the process, so he's going to have to wheel like crazy if he wants to stay ahead, as Miguel is already fighting back. These two just don't want to cede position, even for a little bit. A little bit of contact there. Not sure if Miguel turned in or Burden turned in there, but it has allowed Miguel to move up, but Burden is coming right back up there his inside. Tries around the outside again. Looks like it didn't have enough grip to make much happen off that turn. We're going to be coming through Sector 2 now, see what he's able to do. There's not Gravity and Get It Twin have also been scrapping away. Get It Twin has just moved up and put himself on the back of Burden for the moment. And Gannett's got a good bit more ERS than Burden's, so looks like he might not have too much trouble, as these guys are definitely slowing up the pack a bit with this attempting to overtake here. Is gonna put you a little, as Burden gets a little bit out of shape there, but does well to save it. So DRS will now be enabled. T-Burn picks up yet another penalty. So now I'm sure we're going to start seeing some of these guys move in position here once they get into a next DRS zone. Good queue of cars coming down the stretch. Always love seeing that. Everyone keeping it clean and consistent, and as I say that, Miguel gets collected by Burden. Not sure if he spun a bit there or what, but I do believe he might have wing damage from that, as he's losing out quite a few positions now. So now Gravity is trying to sneak up the inside of him. Switches to the outside. Let's see, very close together, but Miguel just backs out of it. Very nearly still runs into him, but they keep it clean. So what you always love to see, as T-Brim is now on the back of Miguel. Miguel not getting a single break here. See what he's able to do. Skinny Toilet is moving up on Burden, and they make contact coming out of the corner. Burden spins and loses a lot of places, but he doesn't get any damage, which is very vital here, not needing to make another pit stop too early. It's unfortunate for Burden there, as he had the pace to be right up there with Buck in the front, who has set himself out on a nice gap of 4.8 seconds there over KB. As these two have kind of just been able to drive off into the sunset, as everyone is fighting for scraps here in the mid-pack. Really not sure who's going to come out on top of this here. Whether Miguel's going to be able to get through or not, he's going to have to make a pit stop here soon as he's on 20 lap old tires. Imagine he's going to be pitting around the same time as the leaders. Might be trying to hold on, close up a little bit of a gap there and get them on maybe an undercut or an overcut. These guys are all starting to calm it down just a little bit. Looks like T-Brum has just got a little something to show here as Burden picks up another 3-second time penalty. But he is able to make a move on Ville. Miguel and Gravity are pretty close, and T-Brum right behind them. Let's see who's going to come out on top of this one here. All in a pretty close train here. As Miguel is able to get the move done up the inside for right now. As Gravity's has to go wide and let off there, losing out to T-Brum as well. Jacko is closed up right on the back of KB, who's just fighting to stay within DRS and gain it up front. And all the meanwhile, Buck has now improved his gap to 4.1 seconds. As KB isn't able to stay too close to this particular section, Jacko is just 4/10 off. Got a yellow flag in sector 3 there. Looks like we've had a Haas of not Gravity. Looks like he's spun around. Let's see if the rest of these guys are keep on trucking without a care in the world about anyone else. I think they're all just hoping that they can pull out all the stops and just get a little bit ahead as Miguel picks up yet another 3-second penalty. Curious to see where everyone's at for penalties now. Miguel and T-Brum both equally on 9 seconds worth of penalties. So there's not going to be too much they can do there as KB also loses position, as does Miguel. They're just scrapping away. Just love seeing these guys battle it out for so long. One thing I love about these 100% races, it gives drivers a lot more time to figure out new ways to get around each other and try to make some clean overtakes without having to just send one up the inside and hope for the best. Dutchman looks like he's had contact with the wall there and has retired, and it's going to bring out a safety car, which maybe Buck was able to pit in time. It looks like he wasn't. I wonder if we're going to see KB maybe dive into the pits. He's going to stay out as well on his tires. As Miguel is also he's going to come into the pits. Majako got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane there. It's going to be a stop and go penalty for him. But currently we got Buck, KB, and T-Brum in the top 3 positions. And now I gotta see a few drivers in the pits for some fresher tires. Again at Jacko, Miguel, and Burden all come in. Gonzalez is going to stay out on his 23 lap old tires as well. Wondering how far those tires are going to get him. Bobby Yaga has also come into the pits. He's able to move up a couple spots there in all that chaos with the Haas's out at the back. Is he able to hold track position though? It looks like not quite on Jordan, but he is able to with Gravity there. As here's your race leader. Haven't seen him in a while. He's just been calmly setting some solid pace out at the front. I told you he was quick, and he is not disappointed yet. We got 5 drivers out of 14 remaining without penalties. So props to you guys. You guys have been keeping it real out there. Jacko's going to be coming into the pits now. Not sure what he's pitting for. He was maybe had the wrong tire selected or something. But he's in the pits now. He's put on the hard tire. Might try to make those stretch for 46 laps. That'd be a tall order, I want to say, but could be possible. Maybe a late set of softs to get a good bit of a pace on everybody else. It's Buck and KB still on 24 lap old tires. Looks like they haven't decided that they're going to want to pit yet. Tires must not be too overheated. They have done about 5-6 laps under safety car running though, which is going to help extend everybody's tire life just a little bit, not having to go flat out through all of the turns and chicanes. His forward has worked his way back up to P4. Towards the start of this race, you did see him drop down the leaderboards with a bit of contact there in the first lap. So great recovery there from him, putting that Red Bull up in P4. It's the only Red Bull runner still out on track right now. The safety car is going to be coming in. See what these guys are able to do now off this restart. This Buck is going to back the pack up nice and slow here. This corner is definitely can be a bit of a hazard for some of the guys in the middle of the pack there if they're maybe just not paying attention and everyone slams on their brakes. Very easy to pick up an extra penalty there just by a little bit of contact. Looks like he's going to get the field going again. This KB is wanting to stay as close as he can in that slipstream. Doing everything he can, not burning off his ERS though, just looking like he wants to save that maybe for when DRS is activated. And see what he's able to put together for an attack strategy now. As Burden is moving up, as Villeneuve looks like he's had a bit of a spin there, which, yeah, looks like he has spun, but isn't too far off the pace. Slayer Eyes just staying very close. Jacko is able to get a move on Gonzalez there. Slayer Eyes is staying pretty close to KB, just falling outside that second mark now. Going to want to try to keep that in there. The next 2 laps will be back within DRS running. Skin is making a move on forward there. Looks like he's able to get the move done very nicely on those softs. Going to have that pace advantage over the medium tires, especially those mediums being 12 laps old. Not super old for a 100% race, but definitely not going to have as much speed and grip as the soft tires are going to have. So again, it's making his move up on Slayer Eyes. They're going almost side by side down the straight now. Looks like they're able to stay away from each other and very close there down the straight and coming into the corner. Sarah loses out in the end, just runs out of room there. Hopefully he's going to be able to maybe catch him in the next set of corners here. See what he's able to do there. His T-Brum is just 4/10 off of forward there, fighting for 5th place. Let's see what they're able to put together. These drivers are all consistent enough to stay very close to each other and have all these close battles after the safety car restart. So Miguel picks up another penalty, just cuts the inside a little too much there. Skinny has made it past KB on fresher tires, which is great for Ginnett to win it. It's going to be putting him just a little bit closer, maybe within striking range of taking over first place for the moment. It's Miguel, T-Brum, Forward and Slayer Eyes are all staying pretty close to each other as we got DRS now being enabled this lap. Let's see what everyone's able to do. With a little bit more pace, looks like Slayer Eyes needs to close in the gap just a little bit to KB. But he's staying within DRS of getting it up ahead of him. It's just now losing out a little bit just before the DRS zone, so not able to do much there. As T-Brim has had a spin, it looks like. Not sure if he had a little bit of contact with anybody or what that was, but already have seen a couple of reports coming in. I'm sure we're going to see quite a few more throughout the night. Baba Yaga is just within striking distance of Gonzalez there, down for 11 to 12. See what these guys are able to do. Maybe Baba Yaga is going to be able to get the move done with a lot fresher tires there. Miguel makes a move on forward as Gravity makes one on Jordan. This forward loses out yet again. I think he's just getting caught up. There's a whole lot of mess going on here. Getting into it with the new fastest lap in the 119.8. The Alpines are closing in on the Red Bull here. Looks like he's going to try making a move down the inside. Miguel gets alongside and ahead. As does Majako. Ford almost gets contact there. Has to go wide there. Not quite giving enough room. Not sure he was entitled to it. Gravity is 2 seconds behind them, just watching. Not able to make anything of it yet. As Villeneuve gets past Gonzalez down there for P10. We've got a yellow in Sector 2, and that looks like Alsic is going to be out of this race. He might have had some contact there. Not sure if we're going to see another safety car. Miguel has lost a little bit of pace there. With Jack going forward, just scooting on past him. Forward is hot on Jacko's trail. As Miguel has had a collision as well. Not sure what happened there. Looks like he just went straight off into the wall. And that is definitely going to cause another safety car. Not sure if that was deliberate or not. Didn't seem like he had any real issues. I don't know if he had any front wing damage, or maybe he didn't get a good braking zone in. What? But I'm just gonna see. Just 12 drivers left for us here. Started off with a full grid 30 laps ago. This is not the easiest track for racing out, that's for sure. A lot of sharp corners, and it's got to be very precise with where you're going to be placing your car. Even just going just a little bit too wide will see you up into walls, which is not how anybody wants to see their race end. I'm curious to see if Buck is going to come into the pits now, or if he's going to stay out and keep stretching those tires. Buck is going to come into the pits now. We'll see what kind of tire he's going to go for. And he's going to be running onto the hards. Looks like he may be trying to stretch those all the way to the end there, which would be not impossible at this point in the race, I want to say. Looks like Miguel did just run himself straight into the wall there, so that is not going to be taken lightly by the stewards, I would imagine. Always retiring the pits so we don't have a safety car like this, which has dramatically changed how this race is going to unfold. Baba Yaga is now went from P20 on, seeing himself all the way up into P9 now. It's a great performance from him. Able to capitalize on all these guys' misfortune as well as make a few clean overtakes. Skinitwin is currently in the lead with 7-lap-old softs, Slayerized on 16-lap-old mediums. I think Slayerized may be coming into the pits one more time. Might not be able to make it to the end on those mediums. Ginnett's got 6 seconds worth of penalties, so he's going to want to have a nice big old lead, holding him away from everybody else for when those penalties come into effect. And Gonzalez and T-Brum both have 12 seconds of penalties as well. Slow them down. Everyone else has just got not nearly as much. But penalties, I think, are definitely going to be playing a major factor in today's race for whoever's going to make it to the finish line. So probably see some reports rearranging the order as well. Stradame has picked up yet another penalty for track limits, being particularly unkind to all the drivers out there today. Got Slayerized with P2 in the Williams, followed by Majako in the only remaining Alpine. I'm sure he's going to be wanting to get himself up through the field as quickly as he can. He's going to have the youngest tires out of the top 3. He should be able to make it to the end on those hards, I would imagine, at this point. It's going to be looking good for him, as well as forward right behind him on some medium tires. He may be needing to stop again as well. Buck, who was previously leading just before the safety car, is down in 6th with some fresh tires as well, and he's been showing pretty dominant pace throughout this whole race. He was able to work his way up through all the chaos and did so very cleanly to take the lead early on and build up a nice gap for himself there. It's a shame the McLaren driver had a DNF, so we won't see any McLaren 1-2s today. Both of those cars were ridiculously quick. But a safety car in this lap, so got the fields backing up just one more time here. Hopefully one more time. These guys are getting ready to go again. Getting as much heat into those tires as they can. It's not easy to always keep heat in your tires, especially when you got so many safety cars going for everything. As Ginetone is going to pull the trigger a little bit early there, catch Slayerized a bit off guard. Gets away cleanly. So we're not going to see too much happening here from any of these drivers. Coming down into turn 1, Slayerized isn't going to dive up the inside, go for anything too crazy, as Gonzalez makes it past Baba Yaga, as T-Brum makes it past Jordan. And there's a good bit of a battle going on currently, as T-Brum is now able to make a move on Baba Yaga yet again. See if he's able to hold on to it. He is. As is Jordan, is going to swoop around the outside there. Just cut into the inside. Might be able to, should be entitled to a car's width here. Both of them do well to give each other space, keep it clean. As Gravity gets hit with the penalty, as does Gonzalez. It's very hard to race side by side through these corners for a lot of these drivers. Baba Yaga is down in P12 now, losing out to some of these guys who are on fresher, faster tires. As Gonzalez goes wide, as T-Brum is right there, trying to make something work. See if he's able to hook it up. He stays off. He's pushed Gonzalez right off the track. Gonzalez just not wanting to cede that position. It's commitment from both of them there. Some nice hard racing. Not sure it was exactly fair, but it's a problem for the stewards, not for me. As Buck makes his move up on forward now, as he is already creeping his way back up into the top 5. Let's see if he's able to get Slayerized this lap, as T-Brum and Gonzalez are still battling it out there. So Gonzalez is trying everything in his pocketbook to fight back here. Looks like he may be just a little bit farther back now. He's got about half ERS compared to 27% for T-Brum. So keep an eye on that. I'm sure we'll see them making some more moves, but Buck is just now 3/10 behind Slayer Eyes on fresher hards. So it's not going to have the grip coming out of these corners per se, but fresher tires may give him the edge he needs just to make something happen, maybe down this front straight, if he's able to keep it all clean. Candid Twin It has got himself a 3-second lead now over Jacko. DRS is going to get enabled this lap, so we'll start seeing DRS come back into effect. So only got a few drivers able to really benefit from that, being Buck, Ford, and KB. These three guys all on a line here, so I'm sure we'll see some decent overtaking. Maybe a little bit of contact again, but see as Buck just comes in a little bit hard on the brakes there and taps the back of Slayer Eyes, but both of them able to keep him going. Doesn't look any damage for anybody. Forward is just kind of hanging back a little bit, watching this all unfold. See if he's able to pick up anything there as Slayer Eyes goes a little bit wide there, and Buck capitalizes on that as much as he can. Doesn't have enough room to go for a move there on the outside, but sneaks one up the inside, gets alongside for the chicane, and it looks like he's able to get the move done. That was a very, very beautiful move there. Not something easy to pull off at all. So now Forward is just a little bit behind Slayer Eyes. Maybe he's going to try to catch him on this next DRS straight. Got a yellow in sector 3, and that's going to be Gonzalez. He's gone into the wall there. A little bit of contact, losing his wing. Slayer falls out of DRS, but Forward is gaining very rapidly on Slayer at the moment. P. Gonzalez is going to retire. Looks like he has an on-track retirement as well. So we may have to send a message to some of these drivers here, but 5th and 6th and 7th all fighting very close to each other. You can see what everyone's able to do there. Who's going to come out on top? I have no idea, but this is some great racing here tonight. Hope you guys are enjoying all of this. This Buck is now just 9/10 off of Jacko, who is 5/10 off of the leader, Ginnett. So we'll see what they're able to do there. Buck is hit with his first penalty, 3 seconds for multiple warnings there. Slayer Eyes also picks up another penalty. But KB looks like he's trying to size up Forward here. He is on fresher tires. I think it's going to come down to this stretch. He's going to get a better exit off the corner, and who's going to have the lowest drag down the straight. But these guys have been very consistently making moves down into turn 1. Just trading back and forth on who's going to go where. As T-Brum sets a fast lap with a 119.5. KB is able to get past Forward for the moment. See if he's able to hold it off. He slams the door on Forward there. Looks like Forward is just going to hang back a little bit. As neither one of them really have much ERS to play with. Let's see what they're able to do here. Slayer Eyes gets the DRS and Forward doesn't. KB did have DRS there. Looks like he was behind at the detection zone. As T-Brum makes a move on Gravity here. These guys have all got themselves in a train still consistently. I've had one going for the last 3 or 4 laps. As KB and Jacko, just both of them falling out of second in the car ahead, so they're not going to have DRS. Whereas Slayer Eyes and Forward will have DRS, so they're pretty much just going to be trying to control their cars through the corners and just get better exits on each other as their best chance at building up some more of a gap now. T-Brum is just 3/10 behind Slayer Eyes now. He's DRS on both of them having DRS. Looks like no one's going to be able to make anything happen. Thinks about a lunge maybe, realizes he's way too far back. Just going to hold on to it as Williams is going a little bit slow through that corner there. Might have been a little bit too hot on the brakes. Let's see what they've got down this stretch here. Looks like T-Brum might want to go for T-Brum wants to go for that move up the inside, but knows that he's going to need the perfect amount of space to be able to do it and keep the car under control, which is a track like Mexico is not something that's easy for some of these corners. Get it with another 3-second penalty, which may come into effect for him here. So 9 seconds worth of penalties, which would see him behind Ginnett at the standing stays where they're at. That 5.7 lead he has isn't going to be enough to negate those penalties. We'll see if he's able to extend that gap a little bit. Oh, as we can make a little bit of contact here between Slayerized and T-Brum. Slayerized does a good job to not spin there. Has allowed Gravity to stay right back in the fight, though. Slayerized just 1.9 off and forward with no DRS. The assistance there is going to be a sitting duck for T-Brum. This Gravity is going to come up there. See what he's able to do. These guys are getting a little more touchy with each other as the race is progressing. Tires starting to age differently and not able to take the same racing lines as they would want to or would have done during qualifying. This KB is still on the tail of Jacko within 7/10 there. See if he's able to make anything happen. As his tires are going to be a little bit fresher, it's going to give him a nice speed boost along some of these slower corners as well as some of the fast ones. So KB is going to be the only person, or KB and Gravity, the only two using DRS at the moment. Is KB going to have enough to make a move? He's low on ERS, burned off what he could there. Got himself down on just 5% as we have had a little bit of an error here. So let's see if we can get this fixed for you here. Sorry about that, guys. Still having issues here trying to get that video up for you guys as quickly as I can here. I love